She gave me 24 hours to confess on national television, or lose her forever. My name is Zoe, and this is not the kind of story a man tells with pride. It is the kind that burns your chest, shakes your bones, and leaves you wondering how life can change in one single evening. We were sitting at a small restaurant in Surulere, Lagos. The place was noisy with laughter, clinking bottles of malt and beer, and the smell of suya dripping with pepper spice. But at our table, everything was quiet. Too quiet. Jane, the woman I have loved with every drop of my blood, sat across from me in a red gown that clung to her frame like royalty. Her hair, long and braided in neat cornrows, shimmered under the dim light. But her eyes were not the eyes of the woman who used to laugh into my chest and call me my peace. Her eyes were fire, cold, steady, and unblinking. She leaned forward, her voice low but sharp enough to cut through my chest. Jane said, "Zoe, I'll give you one chance. 24 hours. If you don't tell me the truth, I will tell it myself." On national TV, I froze. My spoon of fried rice dropped back into the plate, splashing oil on the table. People around us kept talking, chewing, laughing. But in my ears, there was only silence, and the sound of my heart slamming against my ribs. National television? Did she mean it? Was she bluffing? Her lips trembled. Not from fear, but from fury she was holding back. Jane said, "You think I don't know, Zoe? You think I'm blind? By Wednesday evening, at 8 p.m., I'll be live on Truth Hour. The host is ready. The audience is ready. The whole of Lagos, maybe the whole of Nigeria, will know who you really are." I opened my mouth, but no words came out. My tongue was heavy, my throat dry. I wanted to say, "Jane, please, I love you. Don't do this. Not here, not like this." But the truth, the ugly truth I had been hiding, pressed against my chest like a knife. The waiter came with a bottle of water, smiling as though the world was still normal. He placed it between us, and Jane didn't even blink. Her eyes never left mine. She said one last thing, and it broke me into pieces. "You have 24 hours, Zoe. Confess or lose me forever." Then she stood, adjusted her gown, and walked out, leaving me alone at the table with my shame, my fear, and the ticking clock of destiny. And that was the longest night of my life. The next morning, Lagos woke up noisy as usual. Horns blaring, street hawkers shouting, Okada riders horning, and the aroma of akara frying on every corner. But in my chest, there was only silence, only fear. I had not slept. I kept staring at the ceiling of my small apartment in Yaba, listening to the wall clock tick-tock tick, mocking me. Each tick reminded me, 24 hours. "Zoe, your time is running out." I dragged myself out of bed, poured cold water over my head from a blue bucket, but it did nothing to cool the fire burning inside. Everywhere I went that day, the Danfo bus ride to CMS, the office where my colleagues laughed about football, even the buka, where I usually ate amala with iwadu, I felt eyes on me, like the whole world already knew. My phone buzzed with messages, not from Jane, from friends, from my sister in Enugu, from work, but not from Jane. I replayed her words in my head, again and again, like a cursed song. By Wednesday evening, 8 p.m., Truth Hour, national TV, confess, or I will. What scared me most was not the public shame. It was losing her. Jane was not just a lover to me. She was my light. She was the one who dragged me out of depression 2 years ago when I lost my job. She was the one who called me my king, even when I felt like a beggar. She was the one who prayed with me under the stadium bridge when my car broke down and I thought I'd lost everything. And now, she was the one threatening to bring me down if I didn't open my mouth. I remembered the first time I saw her. It was at a youth program in Surulere, under a big white canopy, with gospel music booming and people dancing in praise. She had worn a simple Ankara dress, but her smile, Ah, her smile outshone the stage lights. From that day I promised myself, Zoe, don't ever lose this girl. But here I was, losing her. The hours crawled by. At 10 a.m., I tried calling her. No answer. At 12 p.m., I sent a message. Jane, please, let's talk. No reply. At 5 p.m., I walked the streets of Surulere like a madman, searching for her car outside the salon she liked. Nothing. By 8 p.m., I was back home, sitting on the edge of my bed, sweating in the fan breeze. I felt like a prisoner waiting for his execution. That night, I did something I hadn't done in years. I knelt down and prayed. God, please, don't let her do this. Don't let Jane go on that stage. Give me strength. Give me wisdom. Let her forgive me. And it was not. But even as I prayed, I knew the truth could not stay buried forever. And with every hour that passed, the weight of what I had done pressed harder against my chest, choking me. Tomorrow, the whole world might know. I woke up the next morning drenched in sweat, though the fan hummed softly above my head. The dream wouldn't leave me. I had seen Jane in white, not her wedding dress, not the kind of white that brings joy, but the kind of white they cover bodies with in the hospital mortuary. I woke up gasping, my heart pounding like a drum in Lagos traffic. It was 6:00 a.m. 14 hours left. I sat on the floor, my back against the wall, my hands covering my face. My secret had been haunting me for years, like a ghost hiding in the corner of every room I entered. And Jane, she had found it. It started 3 years ago. Back then, I was desperate. My father had just died, leaving us in debt. My mother was sick and needed surgery. I had no job, no savings, no one to turn to. Then came the deal. The kind of deal you're not supposed to say yes to. It was supposed to be small work, quick cash, no questions asked. But small things can grow into demons if you feed them. That night in Ikeja, I sat inside an uncompleted building with two men I barely knew. They gave me a phone, told me what to say, who to call, how to sound convincing. It was fraud. 419. The very thing I had sworn I would never do. But hunger is a wicked spirit. And when your mother is dying in the hospital, never suddenly feels like a luxury you can't afford. I took the money. 800. And yes, I saved my mother's life. But from that day, the guilt became my shadow. When I met Jane later, I never told her. I hid it. I buried it under smiles, under Bible verses, under promises of a bright future. But secrets don't stay buried. They dig their way out, like roots breaking through concrete. Somehow, Jane had found out. I still don't know how. Maybe it was through one of those old friends who never forget your sins. Maybe she had seen something on my phone. But the way she looked at me 2 nights ago, her eyes swollen from crying, her lips trembling as she said those words, "Zoe, if you don't confess, I will." It broke me. Because Jane wasn't angry just because of the fraud. No, she was angry because I had lied. Because I had let her fall in love with a mask. That morning, I sat on my balcony in Yaba, watching people rush to work. Children with backpacks chasing after school buses. Women balancing basins of oranges on their heads. The world kept moving, like nothing was wrong. But inside me, everything was collapsing. I could hear my phone vibrating on the table. It was my best friend, Chuka. "Guy, Nawa, for you, oh. Are you seeing the TV? The advert of that Truth Hour program. Tonight, go loud." I froze. The reality hit me harder. This wasn't just between me and Jane anymore. This was about to become national news. I buried my face in my hands. 12 hours left. I whispered to myself, "Zoe, if you don't talk, your world is finished. But if you talk, Jane may never look at you again." Either way, I was about to lose something I loved. The day stretched out before me like an endless desert, hot and unforgiving. Every tick of the wall clock in my small Yeba apartment felt like a hammer against my chest. By 10:00 am, I was pacing the room like a prisoner. The curtains were drawn, but I could still hear Lagos life happening outside. Danfo conductors shouting, "Oguelba, straight! Enter with your change!" School children laughing. The smell of akara floating through the compound. But inside me, silence, darkness, chaos. I tried to distract myself. I switched on the TV, but every channel felt like it was mocking me. Then I stopped dead. On one channel, they were running the promo again. Tonight, 8 p.m. Truth Hour with Tunde Adeyemi. A shocking love confession. You don't want to miss this. They even showed Jane's face. Her face. The woman I loved, looking too calm, too beautiful, like a lamb walking straight to the slaughter. My throat tightened. I switched off the TV immediately, but the damage was done. Now the fear had a face. At 12 noon, I tried calling Jane again. First time, no response. Second time, switched off. By the third call, I heard her voice. But it wasn't the Jane I knew. Her voice was cold, steady, like ice. "Zoe, don't call me again. Tonight everyone will know the truth. You had your chance." The line cut. I dropped the phone on the bed and fell to my knees. My chest burned. I wanted to scream, but nothing came out. I remembered how we first met at the university library, Unilog. Jane was trying to reach a book from the top shelf, standing on her toes. I walked up, smiling, pretending to be a gentleman. "Let me help you," I had said. She turned, her big brown eyes widening, and laughed softly. That laugh, it had become my favorite sound in the world. And now, that same laugh was about to turn into my downfall. By 3:00 p.m., Chuka barged into my apartment without knocking. He always did that, like he owned the place. "Guy, are you out of your mind? Why are you sitting down here mopping? You want Jane to scatter your name on TV before you will act? Do something now." I looked at him helplessly. "What do you want me to do, Chuka? She won't pick my calls. She doesn't want to see me. And tonight go be the end if you don't make a move now." He pulled me up, shaking me. "Zoe, you will lose Jane. You will lose your reputation. You will lose everything." I slumped back on the chair. "I already lost, Chuka. You don't get it. This secret, it's bigger than me. Once it's out, my life is finished." Chuka shook his head and muttered, "Then maybe you would have confessed earlier. At least she would have forgiven you." Forgive. The word tasted bitter on my tongue. By evening, the sun dipped low, painting the sky orange. But instead of beauty, it felt like fire. Like the world itself was preparing for my destruction. At 6:00 p.m., I stood on 3rd Mainland Bridge, staring at the water. Cars sped past, their horns blaring, Danfos packed with tired commuters heading home. For a moment, I thought of jumping. One step, one dive, and all my troubles would sink with me into the lagoon. But then, I remembered Jane's smile. The way she used to hold my hand when she was scared during thunderstorms. The way she called me, "my stubborn angel." No, I couldn't end it here. Not like this. 7:30 p.m. 30 minutes left. I was back in my room, staring at the TV. The countdown had already started on the channel. People online were buzzing, Twitter trends exploding with the hashtag #TruthHour. My hands shook as I picked up my phone again. I typed, "Jane, please don't do this. Let's talk." I sent it. No reply. 7:50 p.m. 10 minutes left. Sweat dripped down my forehead, even though the fan was blowing at full speed. My heartbeat was louder than the ticking clock. 7:55 p.m. 5 minutes left. The program intro music began to play on TV. The host's voice boomed. "Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we bring you a confession that will shake this nation." I gripped the edge of my chair, trembling. Was this the end? The studio lights were blazing. The cameras rolled. The host, Tunde Adeyemi, leaned forward with that practiced smile of his. "Good evening, Nigeria. Tonight, we bring you a confession that will shake hearts, a truth that will test the meaning of love. Beside him sat Jane, my Jane. She looked elegant in a flowing red gown, her hair braided neatly, her face powdered, but still glowing with that natural beauty I had always adored. But her eyes were hard, cold, unreadable. And there I was, sitting under intense heat on the inside, my chest burning, palms wet, praying to God for one last miracle. When the camera focused on Jane, silence filled the air. The entire nation was waiting for her words. She inhaled deeply, her lips trembling slightly. Then, she said the unexpected. I came here tonight, not to disgrace anyone, but to tell the truth to myself. The host arched his brows. The audience shifted uncomfortably. She continued, her voice steady. The man I love, Zoe, is not the man I thought he was. He once lived a life of deceit that broke trust. I discovered it. I carried the weight. And I almost came here tonight to expose him. Gasps echoed across the studio. I froze. My secret was dangling in the open like raw meat before hungry dogs. Jane's voice cracked now, softer, emotional. But then, I remembered the man who held my hands in the rain. The man who made jollof rice for me when I was sick. The man who prayed with me when I had no strength to pray. That Zoe was real. And I won't sit here tonight to tear him down. My eyes blurred with tears. Relief washed through me like cold water. But then, the knife came. Jane turned to the camera, her voice firm. I forgive Zoe, but I cannot continue a relationship with someone with such past. I deserve peace, and Zoe deserves a chance to rebuild his life without me. The words shattered me. It was worse than disgrace. It was goodbye. I leaned against the wall, my chest heaving, my tears hot. For the first time, I cried like a child. I lost Jane, not to another man, not to betrayal, but to my own past. The truth had set her free, but it left me in chains. And that was how my love story ended. Not with a wedding, not with happily ever after, but with tears on the streets of Lagos and the sound of my own heart breaking. They say love is patient. They say love forgives. But sometimes, love also walks away, leaving you with lessons you'll never forget. If you've ever lost someone because of your past, because of mistakes you couldn't erase, then you know exactly how it feels. Tell me in the comments, what would you have done if you were Jane? Stay or walk away? Don't forget to subscribe for more real, emotional stories like this. I'll see you in the next episode.